see, it's not peculiar to Nigeria.
Exactly.
It's something that has, we've seen across even developed economies, like the UK, the US, and like
the
China,
Asia
Asia.
Tigers.
Exactly. So, looking at the fact that, we're the 26th largest economy at the moment, we're the largest in Africa, how can we begin to prioritize our policies to ensure that our productivity begins to is now fast track to the extent that it meets, what we actually have at the moment. What we have right now is the fact that we're the 26th largest in the economy in the world and in Africa.
Yeah.
So what should what policies, what strategy should we begin to look at?
Okay, let me come in there. In the School of Productivity, we have a national productivity plan, a strategy for job creation. And then one of them is we have to start from the cradle and bring productivity into the mindset of every Nigerian.
Back to mindset again.
Back to mindset again. Now, from primary school, there must be course called productivity. That as you are learning English, learning mathematics, you are learning something that is much more, that at the end of the day, you can use all these courses for, and it makes me more productive. Now, I met a doctor last week, said, I was in medical school for 7 years. I mean, with all I did in school, I was not taught how to do business. But at the end of the day, a doctor will open an hospital, and he doesn't even know how to do business. You have to start to learn that outside the medical courses that you're taking. So if there's a productivity courses in school, taken in primary school, breaking out to primary school, secondary school, university, colleges, then you see people having, a mindset of productivity set already before they even come to the marketplace. Now, in China, in America, in UK, you see that there are special schools that are not academic schools. There are schools that improve skills, that improve, the kind of skills that will improve your productivity, that you can learn. There are also private schools you can go for. There are polishing schools. There are things you need to do to prepare yourself for the workplace.
But we have such schools here in Nigeria too. We have such finishing
But the policy,
schools as well.
Is a policy like that you must attend those schools? It's just optional.
So there should be a policy that will state categorically
that before you start business or before you even take the loan or take the you-win or you take anything at all, you must go through all this process to learn before you handle money for business at all. That will put you in the right perspective before you start business or before you even start work.
And to give the credit to the federal government and state government and even people in the Ministry of Education, now it is becoming a part of our curriculum to go through entrepreneurship development in schools. Nigeria is a big nation, 160 million people.
Over 160
million. Over 160 million. And that says a lot, that we should be, we are going through a phase. We should know that big nation that we see today, we are looking up to, they have passed through this. I've seen a documentary that the men who beat America, for example. This is a phase we are going through. But we are actually impatient with what is going on. We want to see it happening over a time. It doesn't happen that way. If you have a baby must learn to crawl before he can walk. However, we are not saying we should crawl for 6 months or 1 year before we can start walking. We can fast track with IT leverage and all that. We can fast track. And I can tell you, 2/3 of our brains are out there because of the environment we are talking about. It's not conducive. So where government comes in, for example, is to bring about policies and strategy, engaging other consultants and the likes, that will ensure a favorable and sustainable environment for people to practice and start businesses and grow. SME is the key engine to growth of anything we want to talk about. Without them being nurtured, nothing's going to happen. So they needed to be, breastfeed, put on the back and the light, give warm attention and the light, and they will grow over time. You-win is a very good initiative, but it has to go beyond federal government. What is every state governor is doing in their current state to replicate you-win? It can't be Mr. President or Minister of Education, Coordinating Minister of Economics that will do all that. State governors, they have their own vote of the money from the federal allocation. What are they doing with that? Election is coming now. You see a lot of activity going around. Empowerment for youth. It's all about election. If you really meant have the intention of the youth at heart, there should be a state plan. Like I said, 10 years ago we have National Economic Empowerment and Development Strategy for state, for local government. What has happened to that? Those have to be revived and sustained. Not that Jonathan or whoever is going to be there in 2015 will scrap all that. We should sustain a plan that will develop this nation beyond anything you can imagine.
Then quickly, let me just add this. When we talk about empowerment is not buying hose, buying cutlasses, giving them, a tricycle or motorcycle to work with. empowerment start from the mind. They need to be trained, including local government. Just like I said, federal government spending money on training, on empowerment, state government, including local government. So every hands must be on deck, transforming the nation one by one.
Now, in terms of government ensuring that there's actually an agency that focuses on this, you remember that there's actually the National Productivity Center.
Exactly. In Ilorin.
In Ilorin.
Yeah.
How much has the... No, objectively now.
Yeah.
Objectively now, we have to be very objective in this and put sentiments aside.
Right.
How much has the National Productivity Center achieved in terms of trying to boost productivity?
All right, I will not speak for National Productivity Center. I will only speak for the School of Productivity. But I will go back there. The National Productivity Center, they are doing their best. And when I say they are doing their best, they are doing the best that they know they could do. And they are doing it part-time. The last time I watched the television, they were giving awards to the most productive people in the nation. And I saw that. And they spent so much money. They came up with this policy, and they were pushing something. But is this thing touching, the man on the street? Can a man walking on the street feel the productivity of this nation? Is it contributing? Is that part of the policy? Now, in the School of Productivity, we have curriculum for people right from secondary school till master's level. Now, what am I trying to say? Because there's a gap. That's why we're coming in. So National Productivity Center, they are doing their best because that's what they know how to do. They're like parastatal, and they're being, they're being monitored by the federal government.
Being
funded.
So, in other words, it is not something that should be left entirely to the government. The private sector has to step in.
Exactly.
So in trying to step in to bridge this gap, what areas should the private sector be focusing on that the government arm of it hasn't totally addressed? Bashir, can you comment on this?
Okay, beautiful. One key area that we can look at is we have the big businesses. We look at the value chain in any business. If there is for example, an industry coming up in Nigeria, for example, there are other small or micro and small enterprises, not even medium now, that are producing something very fantastic that they can be as a source of raw materials to the large businesses. So what happened to our import-export policy? The business that is operating in Nigeria, are they sourcing raw material from the locals who are producing? Then you can develop their capacity in that area. Yeah. Or for those who are going into soft skills related businesses, I won't call mentoring, are there coaches, business coaches, who can hold these people and grow them to a point they can now become, have stability and the like. That's another area to support.
But who holds the hands of the business coach? If the business coach wants to hold the hand of these entrepreneurs who are starting up, who holds the hand of the business coach?
Well, for example, a business coach is like a professional. What it does is business coaching. And a lot of people will ask you, what do you mean business coach? What's the difference between a business coach and a consultant? And I will tell you, for example, it's not about a consultant who is giving you a solution, for example, because what is peculiar to you, Harriet, is even for me, Bashir, we have different background, different experience, different education. So if I'm giving you a solution, for example, even with my knowledge as a consultant, it might not be the right thing for you. But as a business coach, where I'm coming in from is to ask you a question about where you are going, for example, in line with your vision as an entrepreneur, in line with your vision of your enterprise, and any vision of your employees, for example. So I bring those three into perspective. As an employee of an organization, I have my own vision for my life. Is it in line with the corporate vision of this enterprise or in line with the vision of the entrepreneurs? So as a business coach, I assist entrepreneurs to look at this from these three perspectives. Don't just be for yourself alone, because if it's for yourself alone, definitely I'm learning something from me as an employee. If I step out, it will be for myself alone as well. So I'll scale down.
Well, Bashir, there's another challenge I know that is common everywhere is the fact that we have people who say they have a prerequisite to fill a particular position. For instance, now we'll have issues of having consultants who say that they have an idea of what or how to manage a business, and most times it's just textbook information.
Exactly.
And so, where do they, in terms of ensuring that we don't have everybody claiming to be a consultant or a business coach coming out and giving us just everything that you can basically go online to go and read and understand what to do or from the textbook. In terms of development for the business coach, how can they begin to develop themselves and position themselves in such a way that they can also help these businesses that they want to help to become more productive?
Fantastic. Well, it starts from, anyway, we're talking about, maybe today's program is about mindset. As a business coach, I have a mindset that I am there to help people. And what is my focus is these entrepreneurs, they needed help to grow from where they are to where they are going. You ask me, as a business coach, have you done any business before? And I'll tell you yes. And it doesn't really matter whether I've done business or not, because if you have seen a doctor, it doesn't mean whether that doctor has actually had the same, health challenge before or not. He's trained, he's experienced, he knows what to do. That's why he's, providing that solution. So as a business coach, is to help you to move from point A to point B. But most people, and I can tell you, most people, where we get it wrong mostly, anything we do in life is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. As in doing it, because if there's no motivation for you to sustain it, you got to a point. Every business, like you said, even in the advanced world, they have their challenges. But there's a mindset that I need to see this through. This is all about my life, nothing more. Burn the bridge and focus on it. But a lot of people have so many, supporting there that, okay, let me do sell pure water today, tomorrow orange is out, let me sell orange. So like that. But if you have a focus and somebody can help you, that this is all about you, and it's beyond the money you want to make, it's about value you are going to create. Then you're adding value, then it can become blossom. WhatsApp wasn't thinking about selling to Facebook, but was sold for $19 billion. It was a solution, about value that they are creating. So that's what a business coach will help you. How do you create the value in line with yourself, true to yourself?
Well, so
achieve your goals.
From what you've just said anyway, what I think I can glean from it is that you're a coach because you've actually been through the process, and so you understand what it means to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
But hold on to your thoughts. We'll come back and continue this conversation in just a moment. Let's catch our breath. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. Today on the program, we're looking at the importance of national productivity in forging inclusive growth. And I've been speaking with two gentlemen who are going to be here with me in the studio when we come back in just a moment.